Hey everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all my patrons. My name's Neil and it's time for the next episode of Chernobyl. Some of you may know if you watch more of my reactions that I try to dress appropriate to the show, but I didn't have anything that was super pertinent to a nuclear disaster except for my Fallout hoodie. Obviously the tone is very different between a tongue-in-cheek video game and an all-too-real historical drama, but I'm going with it in hopes that I can lighten the mood a little bit, because man, this show is dark. The first two episodes have been just an emotional roller coaster. Well, no, you know what? Roller coasters have ups. This is just gut punch after gut punch. It's incredibly shocking and depressing and terrifying, and I only know that it gets better because this is actual history and the world didn't end. But we're at the stage at the end of episode 2 where we have an imminent explosion when, if we don't drain these water tanks, is the way I understand it. And we sent 3 men on a suicide mission. They knew they were willing to give their lives to save tens of millions by heading into these flooded corridors under the reaction chamber at the plant. But their batteries died, and I can't imagine they survive. I don't know how this gets done. But time's a wasting, and do they have to send in a second team to do what the first team couldn't, or what? I just don't know where we're going. I'm hoping that we start transitioning away from the initial terror of the explosion and the immediate aftermath, and we sort of shift a little bit to the containment. But I don't feel like the tension is going to let up. I just hope that it becomes a little bit more of a controlled situation, because it certainly wasn't controlled, especially in the first episode. Okay, so let's jump into this, guys. I'm sure there'll be a lot to discuss afterwards. I'm kind of like, I'm ready to do it now, so let's just do it. This is episode 3 of Chernobyl, and it's called Open Wide, O Earth. Oh, we're still with them. Okay. Come on, guys. Just do it. Just do it. Oh, I thought they were done for. Oh, I don't know why they went in with a Geiger counter. Like, you know it's radioactive off the scale. Why do you need the measurements? That noise is just so disconcerting.
Is it possible that the water has already killed them?
Yes.
Yep.
Then what?
Then I don't know. God help us all, right? What happens if they come out? Like, what is that? That pumping air sound. Oh, there's the valve, right? These guys are freaking here. Oh my god. Just lose it. Like, oh my god. Like, how do you know if it, like... Hose them down. Don't touch them. Don't touch them. Don't touch them. No, get away from them. They're so radioactive. They're gonna die in a matter of, what, hours? Oh, this is where the firefighters were brought, right? Yeah, okay, that's the firefighter's wife.
Chernobyl. I'm sorry, no visitors.
I have a pass.
You can't be here. It's not safe. But you can't.
It's not
I have
safe.
permission. I've...
It's not about permission, it's about safety.
You can see him for 30 minutes. Not a minute more. And you cannot touch him in any way. Do you understand? You're not pregnant, are you?
No.
Hoi.
What did I tell you?
Don't hug. Don't touch. No, 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 no. Oh.
Just easy.
Don't touch.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Why would someone tell you that if it didn't really matter? Oh. Oh, dear. She's screwed. Oh, heartbreaking. Are they still dumping boron? I thought that was a bad thing. The boron and sand.
Someone decided that the evacuation zone should be 30 kilometers when we know here, cesium-137 in the Gomel district, that's 200 kilometers away.
It was decided.
Based on what?
I don't know.
Is this really the way it all works? An uninformed, arbitrary decision that will cost who knows how many lives made by some apparatchik? The meltdown has begun.
Okay. So, we just had explosion and fire up to this point. Now it's meltdown. Where are we now? Is this just a random home in Chernobyl that's been abandoned, or is it something else? No.
Get out! You can't be in here!
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to see any more of them dying of radiation poisoning like that. I don't want to see any more of it. It's terrible. So freaking terrible.
We have successfully eliminated the risk of a thermal explosion.
And the meltdown's begun.
The situation inside the core is deteriorating faster than anticipated. We're recommending we install a heat exchanger under the pad to lower the core temperature and halt the meltdown. And in order to do that, I'm told that we will need all of the liquid nitrogen in the Soviet Union.
All of it.
Whatever you need, you have it. That should be clear
Yes.
by now. Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to address the 30-kilometer exclusion zone.
What exclusion zone?
Minor details, General Secretary.
No. Get him involved. He's not making enemies in the Politburo, that's for sure. Oh, he is making enemies. He's not making friends.
Divers, the firefighters, the men in the control room. What does the radiation do to them, precisely?
Kills them.
Ionizing radiation tears the cellular structure apart. The cellular damage begins to manifest. The bone marrow dies. The immune system fails. The organs and soft tissue begin to decompose. Within 3 days to 3 weeks, you're dead.
3 days to 3 weeks of unimaginable pain? Oh, give me a bullet, please.
What about us?
Consistent enough to damage our DNA.
Cancer.
So, in time, cancer. Or aplastic anemia. Either way, fatal.
Got enough easy then.
Jeez. Oh, is there more of a downer of a show than this ever? She's the scientist from Belarus, right? From Minsk.
There's something I've wanted to ask you, comrade, but I see you're already asking yourself the same question.
Why did it explode? And I always get the same answer.
It can't happen.
Which is?
It's not possible.
And yet, we need to find out exactly what happened that night. Moment by moment. Go now, while they're still alive. Talk to them. Because if we don't find out how this happened, it will happen again.
Jeez, yeah, you don't even think about that. How many reactors does the Soviet Union have at this time? And presumably they're all of the same type. Or at least a lot of them are. What are we doing? Collecting all of Russia's liquid nitrogen, or are we doing something else entirely? This is a mine. It's like Better Call Saul, almost.
I'm Shadov, Minister of Coal Industries.
We know who you are.
I need all 100 men to gather their equipment and get on the trucks.
Do you? To where?
Why do you need coal miners?
We don't leave unless we know why.
You're going to Chernobyl. The reactor fuel is going to sink into the ground and poison the water from Kiev to the Black Sea. All of it. Forever, they say. They want you to stop that from happening.
How are we supposed to do that?
Yeah, how do coal miners do that?
They didn't tell me because I don't need to know.
They're gonna do it. All right. They're patriotic. Look at that. They're all gonna pat his shoulders.
Now you look like the Minister of Coal.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately that guy doesn't have a very... He's got a pretty thankless job too, doesn't he? She can't be that close to him for so long. She's gonna die too. Don't keep touching him. You're just killing yourself.
Do not touch her.
It's safe for them, it's safe for me.
I don't want to see any more of this. It's terrible.
I'd rather do this.
When they aren't pulling any punches. Oh man. This is so
See the
painful.
Red Square and Kremlin.
Told you I'd show you Moscow, didn't I?
Yes.
I want him to die. That's how bad this is. I just want him to be out of his misery.
Comrade Dyatlov, I'm a nuclear physicist.
Unless you happen to have a butter and caviar sandwich on you. You can get the fuck out of my room.
What an asshole. Coal miners? I can't imagine what they're going to be able to do. But presumably there's a plan. Man, if I was being issued a face mask in a place like this, I'd be putting it on instantly, not walking to my barracks with it.
Have you ever spent time with miners?
Nope.
No. My advice, tell the truth. Do these work?
To an extent.
He takes the whole pack.
So what's the job?
We need to install a liquid nitrogen heat exchanger underneath this.
Oh, so that's what they're for. Okay.
And what's above the pad?
The core of the nuclear reactor, which is melting down.
You're
Is it gonna
working.
fall on top of us?
You're
Not if
working
you're done within
under
6 weeks.
magma.
We can start in the morning.
No. We start now. I don't want my men here one more second than they need to be. If these worked, you'd be wearing them.
The man sees through the lies pretty quickly, doesn't he?
Are they all like that?
They're all like that.
All right, I like the coal miners. But I don't envy the job they've just been tasked with. Why do they work in white? That's fascinating.
We need fans.
For what purpose?
It's 50 degrees in there.
Celsius.
Can't breathe without masks. We can't breathe with the masks. It's like a fucking oven. We need ventilation.
Fans will put dust in the air. The dust will go in your lungs.
I've been breathing dust in my lungs for 20 years.
Not this dust. I'm sorry.
Jeez. But it was dusty as heck in there. These men are all gonna die horrible deaths. Maybe not right away, but... I don't want to see any more of this. I don't want to see any more of this at all.
My name is Olano Khomyuk. I want you to tell me everything that happened on the night of the accident.
I want to tell.
I can't. Obviously, the makeup's incredibly good, but
Your official title was...
it kills me to see this amount of pain.
I am the senior reactor control chief engineer.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Just a lot of inexperienced people running it.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Let them die. Just let them die already. Oh, God.
I don't want him to die alone. Stay on the other side of the plastic.
Man, it's just unrelenting. I appreciate what it's doing. Like, it's just forcing you to look at it and deal with it, and you can't turn away and ignore it because it's just in your face for so long and so blunt and brutal. I get what they're doing, but man, what's she doing? What's she gonna do? Oh no.
Yes, my love.
Don't. You're killing yourself. Oh my god. I can't. The makeup's insanely good. But they aren't. This isn't sci-fi. This isn't a monster movie. This is. She's pregnant! Get out! Oh my god, get out! She lied about. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, God, that's terrible. Sometimes the warnings are real, folks. Sometimes listen to the people in charge because they know what they're talking about.
I know the job isn't over. But it's the beginning of the end.
It's the miners.
They're working naked? No way. Are you kidding me? It's that hot? Wow. I wasn't expecting a lot of nudity in this show, let me tell you that.
Well, we're digging the old way. This is where our fathers mined.
Really?
You're not as protected. No.
You tell them they'll make a difference. When this is over, will they be looked after?
I don't know.
The honesty, it's appreciated, but the answer is brutal. You can appreciate that.
Why didn't you initiate an emergency shutdown? Why didn't you press the AZ5 button?
I did. I swear. I saw him do it.
Did it not work?
And that's when it exploded.
What is she figuring out?
I shut it down. I pressed SF5.
So what happened? I hope we get answers. How about the guy that wanted a caviar sandwich? How about we get an answer from him? Oh my god, get out of there.
Get out. Get out. Get out of here. Did you know she's pregnant? It's not true. What have you done? People are going to hear. Do you understand? Everyone is going to hear.
What is everyone going to hear?
Who's that?
My name is
We know who you are.
The KGB?
What is everyone going to hear?
Oh. The politics shouldn't be interfering with all of this crazy, but it is, obviously.
You have your notes?
Yes.
Homiuk was arrested last night.
What?
Who's Komiuk again?
Was it? Boris.
I'm working on it.
Oh, her. The scientist. Okay.
The Soviet people have faced the challenge and risen to the task, and they and everyone in this room are to be commended.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
Professor Legasov will now speak about the work that remains.
There is an enormous amount of radioactive debris and contamination spread out across a zone of approximately 2,600 square kilometers. This entire region must be completely evacuated. All animals still surviving within the zone will have to be destroyed. We will have to raise entire forests. We will have to rip up the top layer of earth and bury it under itself.
Wow.
There will be deaths.
What amount of time? And how many men do you require?
3 years. And approximately 750,000 men.
Wow.
How many deaths?
Thousands. Perhaps tens of thousands.
Wow. The ask. This is the danger of nuclear energy, I suppose.
Begin at once.
Wow.
My associate was arrested last night.
Oh? I'm sorry, I don't know who you're talking about.
You really don't trust us?
Of course I do. But you know the old Russian proverb, trust but verify.
Trust but verify.
I need her.
So you will be accountable for her? Then it's done.
Her name?
I know who she is.
He knew. He always knew.
That went surprisingly well. You came off like a naive idiot. Naive idiots are not a threat.
There's truth in that, I guess, isn't there?
You want to stop?
Is that a choice I even have?
Even the miners I've told to dig under the reactor will save millions of lives. Maybe I'm killing them for nothing. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to stop. But I can't.
Akimov pressed AZ5, and then the reactor exploded.
What does that mean?
Do you think it's possible?
I think it makes no sense.
But
I believe them.
They're not telling us yet.
I'll go back to the hospital and re-interview Akimov and Toptonov. If they're still awake.
If they're still alive.
They're not.
Are they just asleep or are they dead? I think they were speaking in metaphor there, but man, I don't want to go back in that hospital any more than she does. Where are we now? What is this, like conscription almost? 750,000 men that need to go there and clean things up? Yeah. The firefighters are already dead. She's can't have long. How many are we going to see of those before this is all over? Oh. They're like welding them shut. Man. Because I guess you can't incinerate them, otherwise it's just... they're too radioactive, so you just gotta bury them deep. and they're not just covering them with dirt, they're gonna cover them with concrete. It's poetic imagery. Beautiful is the wrong word, but it's striking. And it's surreal. She's pregnant. Like, the effects, they're still being felt, aren't they? Like, birth defects and never mind the environmental stuff, but like what it did to so many people who survived. Ah, jeez. Whew. This show, guys, it's like a Clockwork Orange, and someone's just like holding your eyes open and forcing you to watch. It's unrelenting. It's not just a brief moment where you see the horrors of the radiation poisoning, the radiation burns. Like you're forced to linger on it for minutes and minutes, like entire scenes. It's so painful and it's so rapid in its acceleration and its destruction of the human body. Just like you think of it in abstract terms when you hear about radiation poisoning and stuff. Like, most of us, thankfully, have never been witness to it, certainly not at that level, and I feel like they just tackled it with such visceral honesty that there was nothing glorified about it. There was nothing. They weren't hiding it. It was just, this is it, and you have to acknowledge that this is it. This is what it looks like. This is the effect it has. This is how quickly it works, and this is how devastating it is. I just wanted those men to die as quickly as possible. I'm grateful, frankly, that they died in this episode, that it didn't linger for weeks and weeks of pain like it was described that it may to us. But you also know, like, there's so many more people that are going to die as a result of this accident. In that Politburo meeting, 750,000 men to basically clean up this insane swath of land that's been affected. And you're going to lose thousands, tens of thousands of them, and the rest are probably going to be like our main characters. They've had enough long-term exposure that they're going to end up with cancer and the rest of it. And you see these young men lined up at the end there because they've basically been conscripted to work on the site. Their lives are going to change are going to be ruined. Like if they survive, their lives will still be ruined. The miners working naked underneath the reactor, digging this tunnel, digging this chamber, because you can't put fans in there. Like the math that you have to start operating in a situation like this is like the math of war. I talked about this during my reaction to 1917, that suddenly human lives just become numbers, and you have to it's not about saving individual lives anymore. It's about minimizing death, and yet acknowledging that you have to kill tens of thousands to save millions. And that's the optimistic, hopeful solution. Just a brutal scenario to have to go through. I'm very curious about the investigation into the accident itself that's starting to happen in this episode, about what went wrong, that they hit the reactor shutdown button and that's when it exploded. What happened? What does that mean? I mean, obviously, I'm not a nuclear scientist. I don't know anything about nuclear reactors and how they operate or anything. So it just sounds super weird. And yet, all these scientists who are experts in their field say it's impossible for this type of reactor to explode, and yet it did. So what is it? Is it human error? Is it a flaw in the engineering that nobody knows about or nobody has seen? I don't know. But I hope we get the resolution of that, because it just seems like an impossible situation. It's interesting. Even after watching something like this, I'm not sure where I stand on the issue of nuclear power, because except when it goes terribly wrong, and when it goes terribly wrong, this is the obvious potential. It's clean power, certainly compared to fossil fuels. But I can't imagine how, if you're a country looking to increase your electrical output, you can seriously look at this as an option in a post-Chernobyl world. Like, once this is on the table as a real possibility, what country would take that risk? And yet, I know Canada has nuclear power. I know the United States has nuclear power. I know a ton of countries have nuclear power. France is almost entirely nuclear powered, I believe. Obviously, Russia has nuclear. I'm hoping, I'm lucky enough to live in a region of the world where hydroelectric is feasible. And so a lot of Western Canada is powered by hydroelectric power. But I know Eastern Canada, where hydroelectric doesn't cover what needs to be covered, there are definitely nuclear power stations in Ontario. I know that for a fact. The world's starting to shift to solar and wind and tidal and other things, but nuclear is still a significant portion of global power generation. And frankly, since 1986, in the last 35 years, I don't believe there's been another accident even nearly approaching this scale. I feel like it's typically a very safe technology, but man, when things go wrong, it's hell on earth. It cannot be a more nightmarish situation than what it is. I just find it just such a... It's a hard watch. There's no other way to put it. There's no entertainment value to this show. All you can do, like, the reason I'm enjoying it isn't even the right word. I'm getting a lot of value from it because it's incredibly informative and educational, and it's also incredibly well made. Like, everything about it feels real and genuine, and it definitely isn't pulling any punches. But the level of production, the level of cinematography, the world that they've built here feels so authentic. And I know that that this is a dramatic retelling of the events. Like, some characters have been combined and whatnot to better tell the story. But the overarching story is true to history. So I appreciate that, and I am learning so much about this thing that happened when I was aware of it, but I was, like I said, I was 12 at the time. Like, this isn't where my mind was at. It was on the news, but it was literally on the other side of the world, and it didn't have an impact on us. It just became a word that we knew. Chernobyl. You know, one of these words that stops being a place name and becomes an event, becomes a disaster. 3 Mile Island, Bhopal. It's kind of like what happens when a major earthquake hits, and the town at the epicenter is no longer a town. It's now the name of an earthquake. This is that same kind of disaster. Or, you know, when Columbine stopped being a Denver suburb and it became a school shooting. Chernobyl stopped being a small town in Ukraine and became the catchphrase that exemplified nuclear power gone wrong. And will always have that connotation as long as the half-life of plutonium-238, 24,000 years or whatever it was. Anyway, incredibly powerful show. I'm glad I'm seeing it. It is a difficult watch, but I'm really valuing the watch. So thank you guys who recommended it to me. I'm grateful that this is only a 5-hour series. If this was 10 hours or more, I'm not sure I could handle it. There were definitely moments in this episode that I just wanted to turn it off and walk away, but we can make it through this. We can make it through this, and we'll be better off for it. Until next time, everybody, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.